Alright, not exactly the layout I wanted for this, but we will make do. Guys, I am Scarlath. Welcome to our Therian therapy panel. We do have someone who is wanting to record, so just to let you know, his phone is over there recording everything you say and do. But really, I hope everyone can trust him. I do as well. I've killed him before in werewolf, so, you know, things go wrong tonight. Oh no, polar bear won't save you from being lynched. But no, seriously, this is a safe space for all of us who identify as Therian, Otherkin, Fictionkin, anything else. Therian and I will be moderating this today. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Elizabeth Fine, who's with the International Anthropomorphic Research Project, or for science. Quite lovely. She's going to give a brief 15-minute or so spiel, and then we'll get the ball showing and rolling, and other things that balls do.
Thank you. So, thanks so much to Scarlett for giving us a little bit of time at the beginning of the panel just to talk about some of the work that we've been doing. Like you said, I'm Elizabeth Fine. I'm a psychology professor here in Pittsburgh at Duquesne University. And I've been working with this research team here. So briefly introduce ourselves.
I'm Luigi, first year psychology PhD student at Duquesne also.
And I'm Jen Bradley, and I'm a third year clinical psychology grad student.
And I'm John, and I just graduated my undergrad at Duquesne.
I just graduated too.
I'm
going to my 50th high school reunion in a couple weeks, so that's what I need to say about that. Yeah, pretty exciting. I'm Dr. Jabasi, Dr. G. I did the first furry study in 2006 here at Anthrocon, and either I or representatives from our ever-expanding team of interested scientists has been here at Anthrocon ever since 2006, and we now have a group we call First Science, and we do have some handouts for you at the end if you'd like to sign up for some of our projects that will be online, electronic, and definitely we would invite you to do that. And a few years ago, Tim, who will be here in a little bit, I hope he's still running the table. Tim and I and Trosh, who's not here at the moment, and another grad student, we were like, wow, there's this really interesting phenomenon. It's not furry, there's maybe some overlap, but not necessarily. So we started really seriously getting interested in Otherkin and Therian, and just kind of it's been growing since there. And I invited Dr. Fine to join me because I don't have the same kind of background that she did. And she's in Pittsburgh, and it's so good.
Come on in. Grab a sip.
And I've been interested in Therians and other kids since I became aware that that was a thing probably 10 or so years ago. And so I'm really excited to have
It was serendipity.
Yeah, to talk to some folks. And so that's what we've been doing. Last summer at Anthrocon, and then again at this Anthrocon, I've been conducting interviews with people about an hour long, one-on-one, kind of open-ended interviews about the experience of therianthropy and other kinship, and we've also done a couple of focus groups. I record the interviews, we transcribe them, and then for the past semester we've been working together as a team to view and analyze the interviews and just listen really carefully for the themes that come up. So we've been meeting weekly to discuss and go over the transcripts. And so I want to talk today about a couple of the themes that have emerged, a couple of things that we've noticed from these transcripts and that have kind of started to feel significant for us and that we're going to keep working on, so that if you have any thoughts or reactions to what we are kind of thinking based on our analysis of the data, you can feel free to share that with us, to give us your kind of thoughts and impressions on these topics and say, oh, I think you guys are on the right track, or oh, I really don't think that's, I don't think that's relevant, or I don't think that's where you should be going with this. So, just to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing, we've been using a variety of qualitative data analysis methods. So, we've been trying a couple of different things, drawing from discourse analysis, using some methods from cognitive anthropology. We've been doing something called keyword analysis, where we just look at a word every time it shows up in an interview transcript and see how people are using that word and what they're assuming that word to mean. So we've been trying a variety of different approaches and just trying to listen as carefully as we can to what's in these stories that folks have been telling us. And so I'm going to talk today about some of what's come out of this for us. It's still pretty preliminary. Qualitative data analysis is a slow process, but here's where we're at. So one of the things that we're all interested in here on the team is what we've been calling the explanatory model, or how people make sense of how therianthropy works. So what do you think causes it? How do you think it functions? And what kind of broader theories are folks drawing on about science, about spirituality, about the body, about what it means to be a human, or what it means to be an animal, or what it means to be a being in this world? So as you guys, I'm sure, are aware, some folks take kind of spiritual perspective on it, some people take a biological perspective on it, some people take a psychological perspective on it. A lot of people combine these. But we're interested also in...
So the chairs with me, there are some more along here in the back, or you can move them around.
We're also interested in what these different explanations do, right? So something that a lot of people have been telling us in one form or another is, look, this is real. I might not understand it, I might not understand how this works, it might not fit with other people's idea of reality, but this is a real thing. So what are these different ways of explaining it?
Silver, move the blue bag over one, and you're good to go.
Awesome. What are these different kinds of ways of explaining it say about the real? What does it do for people to say, well, this is reincarnation, or this is it's genetic, or this has to do with something that I learned about my world? What do these different kinds of explanations allow people to do when they say that this is a real thing, to argue that it's a real thing? So that's one of the things that we're looking at.
Yeah, so another topic that came up in the interviews was about identity, like gender, but also in other kinds of identities such as religiosity. So many people have particular ways of encountering like spiritual, and that helps them understand their own experience as a Therian or Otherkin, and that also interacts with like the kin type that they identify with, their stereotype, but also in terms of like gender identity, that also interplays with the kind of other, like the kinship and their like the stereotype. Yeah. Is there any other identities that we?
I mean, of course, we've been looking at neurodiversity related stuff too.
Yeah.
The ways that people's brains all work differently.
For us, in interviews too, and also for some people, neurodiversity played a role in terms of how they can explain either what they are or what they are not. For example, a lot of people can understand their experience stereotypically, how their neurodiversity interplays in their lived experience, but others like make a distinction between my therianthropy and my other kinship is this thing, and my mental illness or my mental experience is this thing. So like there are different ways in which neurodiversity plays out.
Yeah, and another sort of theme that came up that I was particularly interested in was Therian and Otherkin's experiences feeling a strong affinity or connectedness to the natural world being, woodland areas, any sort of ecological space, even like a local park or something. And as well, I'm particularly interested in how that might play out. Like further questions that I have is how that plays out in sort of ecological awareness and initiatives that are coming out, and that sort of there. And I'm also particularly interested in place more generally. So how do the places that you inhabit shape or influence how you experience your stereotype out in the world? So that might be a workspace, that might be a school space, that might be an urban environment. So I'm getting more interested in other types of environments and how they influence your stereotype and your expression of that in different ways.
And then the last thing that we're all interested in on this team, especially since we're all clinical psychologists or training to be clinical psychologists, is
time out.
sorry, I was just talking about what me, Jen, and Luigi research group has been doing this semester. I didn't mean to speak for the entire research. We'll worry about that. So we're interested in how people who identify as Therian and Otherkin use mental health services and what kinds of experiences people have had with mental health services. Seems to be kind of a fraught topic for a lot of people. On the one hand, people experience a lot of distress. People have reported seeking and receiving help from mental health professionals, sometimes voluntarily, sometimes not, sometimes kind of in between. But a lot of folks have said, I would never tell my therapist about this. I would never, voluntarily disclose this to somebody that I was working with. And so, on the one hand, people have really good reasons for that. They talk about being afraid to be seen as crazy, being concerned about involuntary hospitalization, about misdiagnosis, about being improperly medicated, and also just about being seen as crazy. The worry that if you tell somebody this, that they'll see you as more generally irrational and won't take you as a credible source, as somebody who can be taken seriously about their own experience, which is really terrible. So I've been listening and hearing that concern, and at the same time thinking there might be something that's really, at the same time as that doesn't strike me as, the people that I've talked to seem very rational and seem very, like they are a very good source of information about their own experience and are very insightful and have a lot of insight and perspective about their own experience. It does seem to me like therianthropy and otherkinship is really relevant to psychological life, but not because it's a problem, but because it could be protective. People have told me that therianthropy is a wonderful source. In many ways, getting in contact with a stereotype can be a form of stress release. That it can be relaxing or wonderful to be able to more fully inhabit a stereotype or a kintype. People have talked about it as a way of kind of symbolizing or articulating something that's really important about themselves, or getting in touch with and expressing something about themselves that they don't typically get to feel or articulate or express. And in many cases, understanding, hey, I'm a bear, or hey, I'm a wolf, this can help me deal with my anger. This can help me not react so quickly because I know that I need to react as a human would in particular situations, even though I'm a wolf or a bear or a creature. So, anyway, all this is to say that we are working on coming up with some kind of a resource for mental health professionals so that they can become more informed about these experiences, and that so hopefully eventually somewhere down the line we can try to create safer spaces for people who identify in this way to get whatever kind of help they might feel like. Do you feel like that kind of sums it up, guys? All right, terrific. So just to say, these projects are ongoing, and I'm also conducting interviews through the rest of the event. So if you're interested in talking about any of this stuff with us, please feel free to come find me at the panel or at the research.
Thank you guys.
Over to y'all.
Alright, just a little bit of background on myself. My name is Scarlett. I am a Therian and Otherkin. I will get into some definitions here in just a little bit, but I am a polytherian. I have 42 different species living inside my head. It's quite crowded in there. I have self-identified as Therian since I was probably about 6 or 7, 8 or so. And growing up in the 80s when internet was not a thing, or just starting to be a thing, it was really hard for me to figure out what was going on. Why did I like to growl and bark and run around on all fours and all of this? And so when I started getting into the furry fandom, I felt like I had a home. But it was a home that wasn't a home. It was more just a house. So I felt, especially after one of Dr. Gebasi's actual research panels, I was going to do an information panel, create a safe space for Therians. Come on in, come in, come in. Sit.
I'm gonna come as well.
Yes. So yes, this is a safe space. And I will be using the term therianthrope, but please, if you identify as otherkin, as fiction kin, or anything else, kith, whatever, you are welcome here. This is not meant to turn anyone away. I created this panel with my boyfriend so that we could provide a safe space, give some people some background information, and just get the word out there that we're here and we're happy to have you.
Hello, my name is Ars. You can call me Bird. I'm a grizzly bear. I'm only a couple years younger than this guy, so growing up, our experiences are fairly similar. I think I probably passed for normal a little bit better at some times than he did, even though I hate to use that word. We haven't really figured out a good term yet for non-Therian people.
Other than non-Therian.
Yeah, I am not perhaps all that politically correct, so I'll probably slip and say normal people every now and then. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way or to suggest that we're particularly abnormal.
Because we're not. So, who here?
One more thing.
You guys that are back here, that's totally fine, but we can't see you.
Yeah, if you have questions or anything, please let us know. If you go over something or anything, feel free. Also, for anyone who is late, this conversation is being recorded by the guy in the striped shirt, but it's not anything to where it's confidential or anything. It's not like focus groups if any of you were at that. Like I said, safe space, everyone is welcome. So when I say Therian or Therian fruit, who here, just by a show of hands, has heard that and has a semi-working definition to them of what that means? Okay, good. I'm the one presenting this. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Definitions here are going to be sort of a consensual community thing. Because there is such an personal identity attached to this subject, the definitions I'm giving aren't always going to fit exactly for everyone. But generally, a Therian, for those who don't know the term, is someone who identifies as an earthly animal that is not human. Something that either has existed or has not, or does currently exist on the planet. So like a saber-toothed tiger Therian is still a Therian. There are some other terms that go along with this that fall into this. Otherkin would be any mythological animal, ones that we haven't definitively proven have existed. Dragon, unicorn, naga, to name a few. And then you have fiction kin, those who identify with characters from fiction. One that comes to mind would be Pikachu. I know we have some Pokefurs that do that, or Poketherians. But even though it's otherkin or fiction kin or whatever, they still are Therians. So that's really just kind of a rough general definition. And a lot of people ask sometimes, what does it take to get to be a Therian? Or how do I shapeshift or anything like that? You're kind of just born with it. You either are or you aren't. There's no magic ritual that we're going to tell you as to how to be one. I'm sorry. There is one other disclaimer that I will throw out right now that I will actually going in depth on later. Physical shifting, I'm sorry guys, is impossible. I'd love to come out in the middle of the room and turn into a wolf right now, but physics can't happen. But, no, sadly. So there are various things. Generally, a lot of us will find out from a very early age. We don't fit in. Our reactions to social stimuli are not that of our peers, of our age groups. We don't respond to society in societal norms. Some of it could be from other reasons, neurodiversity and stuff, but a lot of it is you respond in a very animalistic way to whatever is going on. Like I said, when I was growing up, I would bark, growl, bite, things that you can sometimes get away with when you're 6, 7, 8, not so much when you're 12 and 13. So yes, trying to find out what I was, how this was even possible, there was a lot of internal conflict. It's like, in a meat suit. This is not what's going on here. Yes, question somewhere over here. Yes.
Is there a distinction between Therian and Otherkin?
Yes. Therian is basically only Earth-based animals. Animals that have existed, like dinosaurs or something like that, or currently exist. Any animal that currently exists on the mortal realm right now. Otherkin are typically seen as fictional or mythological animals. Dragon, fairy, naga, unicorn, insert mythological being here. If you identify as that, you're technically Otherkin. Now granted, there are some Otherkin that say, no, I'm Therian. These are very loose working definitions.
You will unfortunately see Therian or Therianthropy being used as kind of an umbrella term, just to simplify the conversation and not exclude a lot of other people that they're not exactly the same as a strictly defined Therian, but it's like cousins, basically. We're not really that different from each other.
Think of it like Care Bears and Care Bear cousins. And then whatever the third type would be for another care group over here. So yeah, yes.
So maybe this is just me, but I've always kind of considered like just like in the furry community there's furry, scaly, blah blah blah. I figured there's also Otherkin, which are the fancy creatures, and fishing kin and different forms of furries. And Therians are Therians that are Otherkin, Therians that are fishing kin. So that's why we're thought.
Yes. And like I said, Ryan Burr said, it is umbrella. Essentially that's it. You've got what you identify as, and you can get more specific with it. Like with me, for an example, I am a wolf Therian, but I am also a ruby dragon Otherkin. Am I not denying this conversation? So generally, growing up, a lot of Therians or Otherkin will go through a period of what's called an awakening. Finding out you're not human. It's fun! In a very not fun way. Many of you understand what that means. So yeah, basically, to define a few more words, awakening, the process of realizing and accepting that you are Therian or Otherkin or anything else in that umbrella, also including the discovery of one's kin type or stereotype. Not everyone experiences an awakening. Some people are just kind of like, I don't feel human, and I don't know why, but they don't always go searching for that, as Bert and I did.
Well,
Yeah, more so after I said the JD.
it's not necessarily something that happens always at the same time for people either. I was definitely compared to most. I guess I always kind of knew something was odd, and I just didn't investigate it because I was young and dumb. I hadn't figured out anything in my life yet.
Another thing that you'll hear said around, and this dates back more to the alt.werewolf.horror community board days, is where insert animal type here. The community is slowly moving away from that because it is a little bit more exclusive. I mean, werewolf, were-jaguar, were-lion, but you can still, if you choose to use those terms, identify with it. I do call myself a werewolf. You will hear the words stereotype or kin type. That generally is what you identify as that's not human. For me, that's wolf, lion, tiger, bear, horse, dragon. I'm not listening to the rest of the 42 because we'll be here forever. With this one, it's strictly grizzly.
That may not entirely be true anymore. I'm still kind of figuring that out.
Hooray!
So we'll probably talk.
There are several different types of Therians that you may come across in the community. You have your, and keep in mind when I say things like standard, again, this is community-driven definitions. I don't really think there is an actual just standard Therian type, DC any model Therian. It's not going to happen. It's very individualistic. English is hard. So, your standard generally fits the mold better than some others. But generally, a standard Therian or shifter is someone who identifies as a single insert creature here, and have various experiences around this type, including mental or physical or phantom shifting. Physical is not a thing. Words beforehand. I will just cover shifting in a little bit because I have some things to talk about. Polytherian is a Therian like myself who possesses multiple types at the same time and can experience anything possible for each of them. So these types may appear more important than others, but again, not always the case. You can have a Polytherian who experiences all of them as equally important. For me, my wolf side is dominant 90% of the time, but I can't easily have any of the other 41 dominate. You can have what is called, and this is getting into a little bit of shifting, which is the next topic here. You can have a non-shifting Therian. A Therian who does not experience shifts under any condition, but still identifies as non-human through other means. What those means are is individual to them. Then you have more things that are in IR. You have a Contherian, which is a kind of non-shifting Therian that has similar experiences as other Therians, but who do not shift. Rather, they are constantly shifted into an animal state with no variation. The state can be any one of the shifting types listed below, and again, I will get into that. That's more what you are.
Yes. The way I explain it to people is that a lot of Therian and Otherkin, they feel like they have this second side to themselves. It's more the animal portion of their being. And for me, that separation really does not exist. I'm somewhere splitting the difference between being human and being animal 100% of the time. And as a result of that, I'm kind of always on, and it's very difficult to human effectively because I can't really turn off the animal instinct part of it.
Whereas I am more a Sun Therian. I am effectively on a dimmer switch. It won't go all the way to 0, but I can get it turned down pretty well if I have to human. Or I can turn it up to 100, and that's pretty interesting. I constantly experience my non-human side. I do experience different mental shifts when I am a Polytherian, so I don't quite fit the definition, but it's close. But like I say, it's on a sliding scale, but it's always there. And then there's Cladotherian, who is a Therian whose stereotype is not one specific subspecies. For example, rather than a tiger specifically, they encompass all felines. They are a clade of felines, or maybe just a clade of dogs, or squirrels, or mice, or insert animal here. They really don't think it's possible to narrow it down any further. Any questions so far? Yeah. Yes.
When humaning gets really hard, do you have any advice for how to deal with that psychologically whenever it starts to
I don't adult well at the best of times. The other turn I remember you saw me in the first parade, but I had the I need an adult eat is the adult. Yeah. Weird adults.
Weirdly enough, I am supposed to be the adult.
Yes. Basically you have I always keep in the back of my mind. Yeah, you know the Tiny Toon song from when Babs Bunny went to the 13 something, Tiny and not today, I am a human. Yeah, that just keeps going, except that I'm, human, not sorry, I am a human being, kind of thing. When it really gets overwhelming, if you are able to get out of the situation, just like, hey, if I'm at break, I need to regroup my thoughts, I'll be right back, want to bring bathroom, stuff and sort of. They cannot deny you going to the bathroom.
That is good. And I can stretch it up to 10 minutes in there without anyone questioning anything.
10 minutes, bathroom break. Okay, what were you doing? Powdering my nose. Everybody, yes, powder. Yes. Just get out of the situation, regroup, calm yourself down, and then go back. Or if it's particularly bad, goodbye. If I am in a situation where I'm really feeling not able to be human, I'll get out of there. I'm not gonna deal with it. It's not worth the angst and anger and issues that are going to come along with it if I stay and start acting more and more animal. Okay.
I'll say for my part, it's less reacting to the situation, more doing almost obsessive compulsive levels of preparation beforehand. I kind of think of my experience of being in human society and having to function as an adult as the ultimate method acting session. And I'm not particularly good at it either. So I spend a lot of time trying to study human mannerisms and behaviors, particularly the ones that don't make sense to me, so that I can at least try to fake it.
As the saying goes, fake it till you make it.
Yeah, it is difficult. I unfortunately don't have a lot of good advice on that subject. I am a lot more patient, thanks to my stereotype than he is.
Sounds best to me.
So I usually don't get to that furious point where I just can't deal with anything anymore. But when I do, also thanks to my stereotype, I need to be completely alone for an extended period of time. Because it's not that I can't deal with you, it's I can't deal with anyone. Yes.
When you're dealing with becoming overwhelmed, do you have active knowledge that you are becoming overwhelmed, or is it something that happens subconsciously?
It's mostly subconsciously, but then like when it gets to the point where I want to growl, I'm like, oh, I'm aware of it now. Yeah, I'm consciously aware.
When it gets to the point of conscious awareness, and I realize sometimes that never does happen, I find that grounding myself with a simple phrase that I can repeat over and over that keeps me, I guess, stable enough to understand what needs to happen helps a lot. And if you can think of that ahead of time, and if you can practice that kind of mantra, it might be easier for you to recall in those times.
Add to that, if you're in a type of job that you can kind of mentally shut off for a period of time, like if you're doing like text service over the phone, you have periods of typing notes and everything, I find that helps quite a bit because then you can just mentally be like, it's over. you can take like a short mental break and just get your thoughts. Anyways, you got some questions?
Yes.
What about in a job situation where you can't really leave, say?
That is it. Like with me, I am unfortunately, except for my phone, for my lunch and breaks, I'm talking on the phone with people all day long. I work customer service for a rather large jewelry company whose logos are very well known. I think that's all I'll say about that. So yeah, I can't growl at my desk. I've repeatedly actually been told this by my bosses at work, you cannot growl. Quality assurance is actually marked on there, you cannot growl at guests.
You know who that's for.
Not enough of my name's at the top of the sheet. No. Everyone's turned down more times than that, Brian. Basically what I do is I imagine a large mental reset button and in the shape of the hold button on my phone. Literally, because I deal with jewelry and I deal with carded accounts and stuff like that, I'm sorry, I need a moment to research your question. Hold. Headset comes off, and I just breathe.
I don't even take that off. I work as a cashier in grocery store. Bathroom breaks. They are not legally allowed to deny you bathroom breaks.
And there, you can't do it excessively because they can ding you for that. But yes, a bathroom break every 2 hours can allow you that mental, let's hit hold, and get you there. I see, I'll trade you. Are there any more on this side? No. Okay.
I think he was next, and then I saw that hand go up.
Yeah, I've got 1, 2, and then 3. So yes, you have to find a way for it to work with you as you try to human. Whether it's mimicking, acting, doing whatever that you can to survive, and just trying to control that. It's not always going to happen. I still have points where I may get upset with guests and I am growling at them. It's better now than it was, but it's never going to be 0. Like I said, I've got that hold button. And yes, I realize some people don't, but you have to find what you can in your job and work your job around you. Yes.
I find that what I do a lot, I have a couple versions of my fiction that are either nonverbal or would not respond in a way that is appropriate to respond to customers. I also work with that here. And really to avoid going into any of those mindsets, I have found this way of I just kind of mentally turn off since it's pretty routine work. So I've basically come up with an automated reading and an automated thing to say when customers leave. And I do the checkout thing if I have to, talk with somebody about something, then I do. Or for the most part, I almost feel like I'm going with some sort of mental autopilot so that I don't actually really feel my selves at the time.
I find that sometimes if physical release can help you dissipate some of what you're building up inside, if you have a very rugged stress ball that gives enough give that you can tactily feel that it's bending under your force, but is durable enough that it can do so indefinitely, that can be something that you do not need to take a break for. You can continue doing what you need to do, and if that physical outlet helps, then you can just continually need it in your hand.
Another thing, not to promote the current trend, but fidget spinners. I have 5 of them on my desk at work, and I literally will play with them on a phone call.
So, to continue with what you said and the background thing, if you happen to have a uterus, here you
A good escape for about half the room. Yes. Yes.
Also, another thing, I know some grocery stores offer 10-minute breaks. You can also take a 10-minute break if you need to.
Do you mind if I ask if you're comfortable sharing what your stereotype is? Okay, well,
whatever you feel like, I can't go through all 42. We're going to literally be here forever.
Okay. I'm sure being a cashier is probably particularly difficult because you have to sit in the same place a lot. But if you have the ability to get at least away from the counter when it's not super busy, I hate to say prowl around a little bit.
It literally is prowling.
Yeah, I do the same thing at my job. Not necessarily the cashier aspect now, but face-to-face customer service. And I was always roaming my store, my department, the whole time that I worked because it helped to keep track of my territory, I guess. So if you have any ability to do that, that may be helpful as well.
To go with what you were saying, I worked as a cashier as well. I specifically moved over to self-checkouts, so if you have one of those, the customers not only don't get mad at you and get mad at the machine, so you can help them instead, but you also get to roam around, so a little less aggravating and less money to spend.
No, I had a thought. I mean, you might, some things that might allow you to kind of get away from your cashier booth too busy or whatnot. Either to, take returns back, or if you have to stock anything, maybe from a lotto booth or something from the main cashier area or something like that, just something to get away out of your box area. Even if it's just for a moment and come back.
Be like, I have to take those back to someone else.
Yeah, something like that, exactly. Like reserve stuff just to give yourself an opportunity to get out of that space just for a little bit and back. I think that'll probably help.
Also, sometimes they'll let cashiers go out and they'll have a whole bunch of people that need to go back to the registers.
Oh, these are bad. Unless they're playing with them, in which case they're good.
Oh, yeah.
But that's mostly cat.
I am 40-second hard cat. Now on to everyone's favorite and most controversial aspect of being a Therian, shifting!
Just before you start that.
Yes! Too late, we
Okay,
started.
Sorry. I just wanted to add that I have seen more recently the use of the term vacillant Therian as opposed to sun Therian.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it often, but I'm seeing it more and more recently. And I don't know where that transition occurred or why, but I'm starting to see it as like sun Therian / vacillant Therian. So, you know,
Okay, is there now starting to be a break between the two, or?
I don't know. I think because some people identify as vacillant because they don't want to tie into. Was it Wordwolf who created that term? I don't remember.
Think so.
Yeah. They didn't like some folks didn't like the idea. They wanted to go with a community term as opposed to a term defined by a single person. But Lion Templin defined Contherian, so
yeah.
I don't know. But I just wanted to point out that if you see the other term, that it means the same thing.
I do actually have that.
Some kind of feels more nature attached to it. So for people that aren't really nature attached things, then it's probably more comfortable as well.
Probably.
And especially if they don't want to attach themselves to the day-night cycle, or they're not werewolf and they don't want to be confused with that venture.
And that's why really the term where fell out. What are you talking about?
You know, you're thinking something that is not at all a thing.
You mean the howling? Yes, I howl at the
not just
woman.
howling.
Sorry, didn't mean to.
No, it's not just howling, unless you want to go there, we are not going there. So yes, everyone's favorite and most controversial subject, shifting! When I say that word, what does that bring to mind to anyone? Yes.
To me, it's going into a bit of a state for a period of time, or myself. You're in it constantly, you know, but it's the idea of that you're kind of moving away from your human self to be the creature that you are.
Yes.
Makes me think of like multiple personality disorder and switching between different ones.
I mean, honestly, kind of where I was going with it today, and actually I was see a therapist about that, because I have several versions of my fiction, like I said before, and the different ones play different roles in my life, and sometimes I need one more than others for the situation. And for me, switching is very much that, like, you know those little viewfinders everybody used to play with?
Oh, yes.
I kind of view switching as like you have everybody on that little role in your head, and provided you have multiple, it might just be two. And you click and it changes to another one. It could be that fast, or for some people it could be slower.
Yes, you were.
That's how I do it.
I have, I didn't, but you picked up on that. I have a set of situations where it's common for me to shift into an alternate mindset. I call it a mindset because it comes with a collection of sensations that are atypical for me to express normally. I'm generally very grounded, but when I'm in a shifted mindset or physicality, I will feel a different distribution of weight. I will feel a different cadence in my walk, and I'll understand that there is a different way that I express myself. And other people notice it, and I see it as another facet of my personality.
I've noticed among the kin to Therian community that there seem to be a large amount of people that have multiple people inside, like distinct different people inside their head. would that be related to the having different species, or would that be separate?
And you can ask him because he's witnessed it. Each of my species has a very distinct personality. When I am wolf, I wouldn't say even covered with the biggest way to describe it.
For you, probably.
Easygoing, I tend to be pretty playful, stuff like that. Lion is more, oh Jesus, proud, vain, egotistical, very stereotypical for the husband, but the badger is pretty much always grumpy. Always. The tiger is very calm, sedate, just very even keeled. And we're not going to talk about the dragon.
That bad.
The dragon's different. I'll get to him later. Kind of is a thing you need to experience. Yes, Miss Ed.
Does anyone here ever experience where they're either going through a lot of distraction, a lot of stress, and you shift, but you don't realize you've shifted right away? Yep. And it's like a time delay, and then you go through a series of actions, and you gradually realize, like, no, I'm not with you right now.
I don't think
I'm with me.
I think almost, I mean, by definition, sometimes if it's in reaction to long-term stress, your mind is probably not centered on what's going on in yourself, and it can creep up on you. That seems pretty normal, I think, for that experience. Yeah. You obviously know more about it than I do.
It can. There are times where I've been like that. I've been in an inordinate amount of stress, and all of a sudden I'm barking, yipping, and I am or purring or whatever. And people are suddenly like, "Why is Brian not speaking anymore?" So it does happen. Stress tends to also bring out the worst and the best in us. What? Okay, fine. So yes, under a period of extreme stress, I can see involuntary shifts. I actually have to think about involuntary shifting here. Yes.
I also notice a lot, considering how much the neurodivergent community coincides with the Therian community. That can mean a lot of people have experienced trauma in their younger life due to being neurodivergent, whether it's how they experience the world or whether it's bullying, emotional abuse, people not understanding, putting in the box, etc. And I find, at least for me, as I've gotten older, my reaction to that has been to create the alternate selves one by one, unconsciously, and use those to cope with the different things that I need to cope with. Because my original self, the one that existed as human, and not human, and sort of was the one that experienced all those things, and the other ones learned how to deal with it, not the original self.
That's possible. Yes, come in. Welcome. Welcome to Sitting and Sewing and Sitting. Otherwise known as Therian would be 101. Have a seat, have a side.
I think because of that, I would imagine that a lot of Therians, since it seems like a lot of them find comfort in this and feel more like yourselves, more comfortable, that switching into a kin type or your Therian self is a comfort from a situation that you may have found traumatic previously.
Alright, so let's go over a few things, and then I want to talk about this big old thing I have in front of me. Mental shifting is really when a person's mind reverts to their animal form. He or she begins to feel like the animal and react like them, getting, whining, howling. Senses are often heightened with the shift as well as other things. Phantom shifting. I'm not in love with this definition, but given I commonly experience phantom limbs, I get it. Phantom shifting occurs when the person begins to see or feel limbs of their inner animal, when they see a tail on their body or feel like their hands or paws. I constantly feel some sensation, I get fairly at the extremities. Claws, muzzle, teeth, ears, things of that nature. Dream shifting occurs when inner animal stimulates the brain while a person is sleeping, allows them to become their inner animal in dreams. Carrier shifting I've not experienced, so I am not well versed in this one at all, but it's where a person may experience the shift of another animal that isn't their own stereotype. These can last or recur any number of times, anywhere from once to quite a few times, and it varies from person. I've never experienced that. Astral shifting is when a person travels to a non-physical plane, aka the astral plane for anyone who's New Agey, Wiccan, sort of like that, aided by deep meditation, lucid dreams, or trance-like states. Once in the astral plane, a person can see the shape of their astral body or shift the astral body to that of their stereotype or kin type. It's similar to a shamanic journey, although it's thought that shamanic journeys require one to be much more involved and dedicated to attain. There's sensory shift where your senses appear to match those of your inner animal. Bilocation shifting is when the body totally makes a carbon copy of the animal inside the body and then travels the land, sometimes as a spirit, sometimes, others may believe, as a somewhat physical image of their inner animal, which is not quite likely. Aura shifting occurs when the aura around you changes to reflect your inner animal. This often happens subconsciously or when provoked. And then we have the most controversial one, of course, for last, which is, as I stated earlier, the physical shifting. And that brings me to this wonderful piece of horribleness. How many people have seen this book before?
Yeah.
It is The Magic of Shapeshifting by one Rosalind Green. She goes over what shapeshifting is, and I actually started reading it for this panel, because I'm thinking, oh, okay, wonderful. Given I'm a witch and I'm into all this stuff, wonderful, let's see. Why is there nearly 20 pages on the subject of physical shifting? There should be like 5 sentences.
You can't do it, don't try.
That is not at all what she says. She starts on page 107, goes to page 132 on physical shifting, promoting that it is actually physically possible to do.
Out body modification via surgery, tattooing, etc.
No. As in, you go from being the human meat puppet to being your animal.
Meat puppet. Bullshit.
I think I use similar terminology when I was reading this to you.
Yeah.
And not only does she say that this is possible, later on in the book, she gives actual steps. Sure.
Yes, I want to see how somebody could physically, actually describe steps to do this.
I'll get to steps in a moment. Before I begin,
short
you had something.
No, you asked it. Henry doesn't see it.
Oh, yes.
I was agreeing. Yes, I have in fact seen it.
What was your opinion?
I was actually, so I had spent some time out in the community just focusing on offline life, and as soon as when I came back, this girl who I was talking to was like, you need to read this book, The Magic of Shapeshifting by Rosalind Green. I'm like, why do I I need to read book magic shapeshifting by Rosalind Green. That seems like a crazy thing to tell me. And she said, because it'll tell you how to physically shift. I'm like, no, it won't. It will not. And I don't care how bad my dysphoria gets, I'm not getting shifted. Believe me, I've tried every method under the sun when I was younger, and it's not possible.
Chapter 5, Physical Shifting. When most people think of shapeshifters, they think of physical shifting. In truth, physical shifting is the most dramatic manifestation of shapeshifting. There are many people who are truly shapeshifters deep down to the very fiber of their being, who have never experienced a physical transformation. Physical shifting is one of the rarest types of shift. There are many who doubt its existence, like everyone in this room.
Yes.
And there are many who feel that it used to exist, no it did not, but does no more. There are also many who believe in physical shifting. She is one of them. I am not using the personal pronoun I because I don't want to be related to this book. I used to be doubtful about physical shifting, thinking it maybe existed only in the Middle Ages, that is bullshit, but not anymore. Pardon my French, this book makes me very angry.
That's okay.
My mind was changed by a number of things. As she studied shapeshifting folklore and accounts of modern physical shifters, she began to notice similarities with many other types of paranormal phenomena. As far as I know, no paranormal investigator has ever gotten a shapeshifter inside their lab to study because no one would ever go. And this is where I started.
Except the delusional, which are not a good sample base.
No, and this is where it really gets bad to me. But there are years and years of well-documented research by paranormal investigators into things like ectoplasmic materializations and much evidence for it, and many believers in it. If physical shifting shows evidence of being just a rare and specialized application of ectoplasmic materialization, then it's not so hard to believe in.
Unless it's hard to believe in ectoplasmic
The thing is, ectoplasm is ectoplasm. She was watching this. Drop some acid.
Oh, it gets worse, believe me.
Oh god.
Did she even bother to go over how the medieval times when they said this was possible? They were using salves with hemlock and they were poisoning themselves.
Yeah,
and
and
usurping and thought that they were actually thinking, but they weren't.
Ergo plug into the water.
Do you want to take one of these? Does not go over that.
Exactly.
They reinvent her own.
So she doesn't even touch on that.
Yeah, she basically goes over how, because she's not trying to abuse them and get things out of them, but the physical shifters, and she never says how many she comes in contact with or anything like that, or names, or data study like these guys do, or anything else.
Oh, you're a minor?
She
Oh no, I
remembers
just want
stuff.
flash of orange.
She never says really where she gets her information from. There's no data in here. And it's just like, okay, this is empty. You're speaking in nothing. And then later, how to become a shapeshifter, chapter 7.
I feel like someone would fall, like if you're writing a book, you would at least take your own instructions, and if you did that, then you just like stand up at the end and be like, well, now I feel stupid. How do you get past that point?
She readily admits that it's not easy to do, even with her method.
Not as easy as.
That's where the camera is. Oh my goodness. Where did that come from?
That's the camera. But wasn't.
I got you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So it seems to me that we're all on consensus that this is pseudoscience, it has no logical merit. Can you discuss it further?
For a few more laps, yes.
I would like to hear exactly what the process is.
I would like to hear
How would you tell people that they could do this?
Physical shifting and letting go. She has talked to many physical shifters about learning to physically shift, and they all agree on the basics. The individuals may have their own particular concentration techniques to help smooth the way. Basics are the same even according to those who have never met each other. Most discovered these basics by a combination of experience and instinct. These physical shifters learned them from another physical shifter. Again, not true. Before trying to physically shift, there are some requirements, because of course there are. You need to fulfill, or it simply won't work. What a great way to have a
What a wonderful disclaimer.
Yeah. you need to have a strong, well-developed animal etheric body. This animal etheric body must be dense enough to support physical matter.
What?
An ethereal thing is literally something that has no matter or substance. You can't make it denser.
Pardon my French, but that's ridiculous.
You also need to have a very high level of shifting energy.
All hail the glow cloud.
You need to also have a high level of shifting energy, not just at the peaks in the cycle, but even at ordinary times. You need to be like.
Did she describe this cycle?
She does, yes. It gets better. You need to be one of those shifters who can support a base level of shifting energy that is higher than that which ordinary shifters are comfortable. These are the symptoms.
Thank you. Thank you.
No.
If a lot of these guys who've never met each other agree on the basics, how would they know what the common shifter level of energy is?
A humming, pushing, pressure, and tension within your body that feels both very good and uncomfortable. A strong increase in this feeling near the full moon. Your body feeling as if it will burst, your skin twitching, feeling as if many tiny worms are wriggling just be. Are you describing an orgasm or 50s?
Yeah, really. Or a really bad acid trip.
Or a really bad
eye color changes, or skin turning gray or white during mental shifts. Heightened animal senses that are often always present. An incredible appetite near the full moon. A sharp rises of fears makes it ascendant just at the beginning of some mental shifts. A building pressure that frequently makes you feel as if your skin will split open if you don't shapeshift.
So the glow.
This is about the
Well,
point where
gray
we started
skin
talking
and
about
bloating, so that's corpse, basically.
If you have all of these symptoms, you are ready to let go. The key letting go. So, what's wrong with me? Let it go. Let it go.
Alright.
I think we're done with this.
Between the gray skin and bloating,
Have your bowels
describing a corpse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then maybe that ear is squirming.
Those aren't the sensations of 1,000 tiny worms.
No.
Those are probably
Things
You have parasites.
Things like this for our community are exceedingly dangerous. When you start getting people into thinking about things that cannot actually happen, people can get screwed out of a lot of money, they can start doing bodily harm, species dysphoria, and the reason I even bring this up, we had last, but it actually ties into a very serious thing, which both experience, and that is species dysphoria. Sure, go ahead.
I'm not going to rehash anything that's in here, but I in particular found it incredibly insulting that the book suggests that basically you have to be like the Superman version of the stereotypical werewolf to do this. Because specifically it's like, oh, you have to have things associated with the full moon. I don't give a crap what's happening with that thing in the sky. It doesn't have any impact on me. And like, as soon as he started reading the very first part of it, I knew it was BS, and I just kind of wanted to see how far they would take it, but it was legitimately upsetting to hear someone make these claims that are patently false.
When she was talking about adjusting your density, what if you like did it the wrong way and you like collapsed into a singularity?
Not that I really see that happening, but yes.
Then there will be a black hole.
Is it so cool to come in?
Welcome to City Sewing, otherwise known as Therian. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I bring this up. Yes, yes.
One of the reasons I can see that being very dangerous is you might have young folks who don't actually know that 100%.
Yeah.
They're going to reach an audience that's going to actually believe that, right? Like, we're adults and we're smart enough to realize that that is 100% BS and laugh at it. There's take it seriously, they're going to.
And this also hurts people like myself who have a very strong sense of species dysphoria.
It makes us look crazy too.
Yeah, it does.
People will associate this with us who have very real feelings about this, and they'll associate something completely ridiculous like that with nothing to back it up.
Especially if it,
And
however,
well, you almost follow this book, so you all agree.
If they're recommending to everybody about shapeshifters, all of a sudden that is a book for the face of the community, and no.
That goes into the people trying to attack us going, yes, you really think that you're just like literally actually this all the time.
Yes, we are literally actually this all the time, but not this.
The sad part is there's a lot of good stuff in other portions of this book to where you kind of get sucked in at first because it has a lot of the information we're presenting here to you guys.
It has
accurate, and then it goes completely off the rails into this bullshit.
It does, and you guys, I can't explain how much I would love to be able to demonstrate this and just not wear human for any length of time. My level of species dysphoria is extreme. I don't feel human, and I feel constantly trapped. And to see something like this, it hurts. And, you know, I don't know how many other people I know, I saw some shaking. Species dysphoria is essentially, think gender dysphoria, but with species instead of male or female. So I constantly feel very strongly I am supposed to be all 42 of my phenotypes. All 42. Yes.
I was actually discussing this outside this and we're just having kind of a discussion about it. It may be related to the fact that most of my fiction types throughout the years have black hair, but I have always wanted to dye my hair since I was like 3 years old. And I have repeatedly voiced that I felt that I should always have black hair. This is my natural hair color. I am long and people would tell me how pretty my hair was, how nice it looks, and how people could have these colors for highlights. And I would sit there like, and being somebody who is transgender myself, I understand the gender thing too, and it's, for me, it's exactly related. I've been through the other one, and they are nearly as synonymous together. So yeah, this is painful to read because it's not actually possible, and to see it stated in such a ridiculous manner makes it seem even more crazy and reminds me of like not being losing. Try a little bit harder. You're not strong enough to do this. You're not good enough to do this.
Yes.
So, essentially, if it was real, right, if you were a wolf, would you then have to say
No. Because I'm not human. No. Now, when I say that, there are some caveats that go along with it. Yes, you take me down to any medical center, they're going to quickly draw human blood through human skin, and it will come back as a human DNA. I get that. I'm not human. I am able. Yes, hi!
What about language? Can this language?
No. Because wolves can speak. They have their own
communication. But they communicate. It's a different language.
Yeah, it is, but it's not. Yeah, I would be a lot happier to be on 4 legs right now, chasing rabbits through the forest or whatever. Yes.
He was actually.
Yes.
I just wanted to add that like it's very difficult to express what the experience of species dysphoria is to someone who doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And I mean to say it out loud and describe it, it sounds a bit nutty, but it will drive you to do crazy things in pursuit of relieving.
And that's especially why this book is incredibly dangerous, especially for someone like me. I strongly don't want to be wearing the body I am. And I will admit, when I was younger, I have tried several things under the guise of, yes, this will get, no, they don't work. Yes.
I feel like to introduce the species dysphoria, do the concept of gender dysphoria, and evolve from that, because it doesn't really seem like that much information.
Go ahead.
You have a problem with your gender?
No, I don't have a problem with gender.
Not you, I'm just saying, like in general.
I actually had someone at the first panel we did 2 years ago. They were doing research, I think as a grad student project into identity in general, with focus specifically on gender identity. And they actually tried to almost get me to nail down that there is a very clear parallel between these things. And I was not comfortable doing that then, because I personally had not known a lot of transgender people or people who experience gender dysphoria. So I didn't want to speak for someone that I, at the time, didn't really know anything. I'm not still 100% comfortable making that statement, but I'm actually really glad that you're here, because that seems to be what you're saying, is that the parallel is there.
I think that's part of why there's such an overlap with also the LGBT community. Because people who have experienced it, I mean, I started to realize this because I was having some of the same feelings, but they weren't gender related. So I came out as transgender first, and then I started finding myself this as well. And I started noticing, like, these are really similar feelings, but this is not at all about the way I present myself related to feminine and masculine, or neither or both. I've very much noticed that there are a lot yeah, sorry, I have been talking.
No, you're fine.
I guess
Yes.
I guess I just wanted to interject. I guess as someone who is both transgender and Therian, I guess I don't feel like I can speak for other people, but as far as myself, it sort of melts together in a sense. I guess for me, when I found furry stuff, it was like, okay, this looks fun, this looks cool, this appeals to my interest, and then it was getting more into it, it's like, oh, well, you can just be an animal in this, not physical sense, but oh, you can just be an animal, cool, okay, let's do that. And then it's, oh, you don't have to be a girl, cool, okay, let's do that. And then sort of exploring my identity through making characters and stuff sort of turned into translating things that I felt that I had no way to express before. Because growing up, they don't tell you that you can be trans, they don't tell you that you can feel like you're another animal. They don't tell you those things. So finding furry, it was oh, okay, you can just do that, cool,
Yes. I was just going to bring this up. In my case, species dysphoria. With my friends that I know, I jokingly told them as I was coming to Anthrocon, I don't have to deal with humans anymore. I can come here and I don't have to deal with a single human anymore. Thank God. I still have to deal with them, but there's few of them. But it also causes things in my life that I do differently with different people. I don't socialize with my family as much because they don't understand. I'm usually in my room playing MMOs, and even in those games, I'm I don't want to be human. I cannot be human. Thank you. Yes, it's not my Therian type, but at least it's not human.
I play a lot of Second Life for that reason.
Yes.
Not a lot of people use it anymore, but in terms of creating a self that is entirely in your control, it's just really awesome.
Khajiit and Skyrim.
I have a very good friend who makes a bunch of different
But that's the type of communities that I find that really importance, because you can express yourself as not being human in a safer space, not having to deal with someone face to face, that you have to explain
explain why you do not want to do it with humans.
Yeah, I wanted to add as an extension to the idea of not having permission. One thing that I've noticed has happened, it happened with me, and
You
it's
can
happened.
come in, don't be shy, we don't bite.
It's happened with many Therians who I've talked to over the years. A lot of them will go through a werewolf phase because culturally here in the U.S. and Western culture, like the only cultural touchstone we have for person into animal is werewolf lore and legend. So a lot of people go through this werewolf phase where they're like, I must be a werewolf then. And it's not until they're able to find additional information saying, oh no, there's shapeshifter lore and animal person lore across the world that are all these different critters. It doesn't have to just be this sort of Hollywood werewolf idea that we're programmed with. There could be a lot of different things. And so it's...
And when I started exploring mindset, wolf fit, I am a wolf Therian, but I'm like, okay, what's this other thing over here? Why does wolf not feel 100% complete?
Yeah, but I was speaking specifically to werewolf.
Yeah.
You get that a lot, and then it'll go werewolf, wolf.
Yeah.
We actually had someone ask us the question 2 years ago, why specifically were wolves so not popular? It's not the right word, but prevalent, I guess, among Therians. Why is that such a stereotype that you run across a lot? We got pretty deep into that. Like you were talking about just the cultural aspect of it in the United States, because we've all seen horror movies with werewolves, games, media, all that sort of thing, and I know it's a little step farther between them, but dogs are very popular in America, and that's came from domesticated dogs long ago in the past. We had suggested that maybe humans in general just have this unusual connection with that particular canine, and so it's the natural jumping point for when you don't have another reference to say, okay, there you go, that's what it is. Yes.
I've actually been reading this really good book that touches on a lot of stuff about werewolves and human animal shifting mythology, because it's not actually on that topic. It's a book about the cultural history of rabies. I work in virology and I work in microbiology, biochemistry, so I thought that would be a cool read for the bus trip here. And so it's about the cultural history of rabies and how it's impacted the relationship that humans have with animals and the way we see the world around us. And two things that were brought up that were really interesting as distinct mythologies that have run through a lot of cultures and become a part of a lot of cultures is you have the werewolf, which is man becoming beast. It's sort of a conversion, and then you also have man and beast combined in a sense, because a lot of cultures actually have reference to what are known as cynocephali, which are dog-headed men. And the Greeks, ancient Romans, the Byzantine Empire, a lot of cultures throughout time had this idea of beyond the borders of our maps there are crazy half animal, half human people, mostly dog men. And I feel the book, because it's one person's hypothesis in the book, but they were saying that it's because that was sort of a metaphorical way to refer to the foreign and the unknown, because people had maps and they had no idea what was outside of that map. So they would say oh, there's these weird foreigners and these crazy dog-head people. But it was a way of combining the familiar and the decidedly strange and abnormal into one body, because dogs are ubiquitous in all these cultures and have been. But we think about foreigners, it's xenophobic, but it's a part of human history that quote unquote foreigners are scary, whatever. And that mindset of combining something that we all know and understand, which is dogs, and then these people that that your tribe may not know about. So I feel I'm rambling a little bit, but there's these two really distinct mythologies of man becomes beast and beast and man are contained in one package.
I'd like to read that if you
it's
can give me the information for it.
I can totally.
That sounds interesting.
Yes.
My comment was from earlier when we were still talking about trans folks. I was wondering if maybe one of the reasons we see such high percentage of trans Therians is they recognize what dysphoria is faster.
That is very possible.
Because like I've actually had like a phantom limb sensation. I've never actually had dysphoria, thank God. But like, so I wouldn't recognize it if it happened right away. I might have felt it. I don't know about it.
See, I also strongly have the phantom limbs and everything. I constantly am feeling claws, muzzle, teeth, ears, tail. This one you can tell when my tail is wagging. It's very wonderful.
That's how I understand that, but it's a thing.
It really is.
I felt Dave's tail wagging, and there isn't a physical one there. He wasn't wearing his cloth one, but I felt it hitting me in the ass.
And it. You want to talk about it?
Actually, yeah. Since you brought it back up, we had touched on it a little with phantom shifting. I really don't like that term, since I'm not one who experiences any other kind of shift really, but phantom limbs are one of the very few, I guess what I would classify as spiritual or very maybe paranormal phenomena related to therianthropy that I do experience. And I can't explain why I would be particularly sensitive to that. I forgot what I was going. I don't like to call it phantom shifting because, like I said, I don't really shift. And it's more like a difference in perception, I guess. It's like he says for him that it's always there, it's just whether he's focused on it or not to recognize the intensity of it. It's kind of the same for me. I'm sure on some level everything is always there, just whether or not I'm aware of it. So I wish that there was a different way that we could have a conversation about this particular phenomenon, because it does seem to be pretty interesting to people.
Has anyone here, aside from myself and a few others, experienced anything where they feel a non-human part of themselves? All right.
Have any of you ever experienced perceiving that on someone else? I would be interested to know too. Looks like less, but yeah, still a thing. Okay.
Okay, bye. Okay, hi. One goes out, one comes in. I'm maintaining numbers here. Wonderful.
It's like a revolving door.
And for the newcomers who have just come in, just so you know, we are someone here is audio recording.
Yes.
I think that it's like a physiological response to a psychological stimuli. That, like, you get that hysteria sometimes they call it. And I mean, that's just an example. I'm not saying it's hysteria, but like my husband and I are close enough that I can tell when his ears perk up or his tail slapping. He can tell when I'm stretching a wing or whatever. I have a brain pressure. It's like literally like it's like the wing is like, you know. I mean, I kind of look at it like if a human has their arm removed and I have to manage that, they still feel it because it's always been there. It's always been a part of them. It's like when you notice it because you're not focusing on it. Pretty much, it's like that thing. It's always been there. You just realize it, you know, and then you look, but you can't see it.
See, with me, it's a little different. I always feel it. It will never go less than the claws or the teeth or anything, but it can always become more of that. But for me, there is always a minimal level that is maintained.
Here's a kind of a question for those who raised their...
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Here's a question for those people that were have you ever gotten the feeling that, like, you're so in that mindset of feeling all these other parts of yourself, everything that you look in the mirror and you're like, who the hell is looking at me?
Yep, that would be
I was telling him that yesterday.
That I find it also kind of gives you a hard time trying to, like in my case, like lose weight, because I'm like, my Therian type is she's skinny, and I'm not. So it's like I don't feel the weight.
I
was gonna say, the point that you brought up earlier was kind of interesting to me, because I've suggested that, well, let me take a step back. He deals more in like the spiritual side of things related to Therian empathy than I do. I have tried to analyze it more from like a psychological or even somehow biological aspect, which we talked about a lot a couple of years ago. And I've even suggested that the phantom limb phenomenon, everybody knows that the human body carries a certain current through it. Maybe if you're feeling these things, it's a change that you can perceive in that current in you or someone else, and that some people may actually have some ability to influence that through like biofeedback mechanisms or something. So that's one of the few things. I'm not entirely sure it is just like a spiritual thing that some people might say, that's not real. I think there might be something actually to it biologically that we just don't
Well, we did
have
generate
the
an
ability
electric
to
current,
measure.
they can prove that part. Why wouldn't we be sensitive to it?
Scientists have proved that things like silicon crystals actually have different effects, different energies. There's actually been studies on this that have proven that there's something to the idea of an aura around objects like universes.
Well, if they can photograph the aura.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? No.
Wow, I did not.
I need to talk more to him about spiritual stuff, clearly.
Go ahead.
I feel like what a lot of, and like this is just more in like how I think about my experience and how it differs from other people. It seems like when other people think about like feeling like, not even necessarily phantom sensations, but like the feeling of absence of something, it seems like people tend to focus on like specific parts, ears or claws or muzzle or teeth. With me, it's just like physical size and shape in general, because I am not a horse. I am a small human person. And it's more like the absence of the mass and the shape overall feels off. Rather than
Any
like
particular type of horse? Or
draft horse, so like the bigger
like Clydesdale?
a fjord, so like
Shire, fjord.
I don't really
No
tune
wonder
out
you feel
breeds
tiny.
more specifically, but one of the more small primitive draft breeds.
That kind of actually,
Sorry.
that kind of leads to what I was getting at earlier, where like you physically feel different enough to the point that like if you look in the mirror, it's like you are shocked to see what you're seeing because mentally you don't feel that way. Like in your case, you feel like you're a dragon. If you look in the mirror, it's like, who is this small woman looking back at me?
Small person.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't experience the phantom sensations, but the sense of bear is so much bigger than my human frame that it's awkward in a way. Like, like it's bigger than me, like it's a bigger force internally than me.
Yeah, that's exactly what
But like I'm a balloon that's too full. I'm not sure that.
It kind of feels like
makes
you need to be
sense,
more
but-
careful than you physically do, because your meat sack is not nearly as big as your aura.
No, right. Yeah, I guess that might be a good way to think about
To
it.
go to the extreme with my dragon side, it's a million times that. I mean, I'm talking something that's several million tons in size. And yeah, and it's big. Very big. And to which when literally you brought up or yeah, I actually shifted scatter once just to see what would happen if the entire photo just came out. I just literally the exact color of his scales, that ruby red color, I'm just like, that isn't supposed to happen. And the photographer literally is like, oh dear God, this didn't come out. Like, no, it's fine. Trust me. What did you do? Nothing going over here now.
That would be an interesting study to see what the orders change as someone shifted.
I've actually had something that looks like my lion tail caught on film. I've had wolf ears and a wolf shape-ish thing. up here if I'm doing those, and it has decidedly confused people. I just like to confuse people.
If we have a person who does photography that is capable of doing like understands.
Oh yeah,
what we're
they're,
studying.
all of a sudden they're trying to read it and they're going, and blah, and blah. I'm going, no, that's not a line, sweetheart, trust me. I mean, with Scamrat, it's just literally, with him, it either is or it isn't. Given that he's Otherkin and everything else, and more, I hate to use the word sentient, that's really the only way I can describe it, more of a sentient as we understand that word entity than the others are. The others are more animal.
As to say, I actually don't like that you try to make that distinction because I could say in my experience personally, it's almost like the classic fusing of the two where I don't feel the separation. Yeah, I have animal instincts that I recognize as being not human, but at the same time, I can't say that this is a bear thought and this is a meat thought over here. That's, I don't know. I feel like it detracts and minimizes how intelligent animals can actually be. They just don't have the same method of thought that we as humans do because we think in language that we've been given to us throughout development, and they don't necessarily.
I'm not saying that 41 out of 42 are intelligent or anything. I really am butchering this.
I know, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate.
Well, it's sort of like the human brain structure has a very specific structure.
Yes.
Animals have the same very specific brain structure. So there's like the human brain structure of thought processes and animal brain thought processes, but neither one is more intelligent. Just one is articulated in a very specific way, and the others are in a very specific other way.
And this one is a very specific alien way.
Yes.
Very specific. So yeah, it just with him, it's okay. There is or there isn't. Okay, we're doing dragons now. Not that many who are dragons in the room, but yeah. See, mine's already I mean, 25 minutes left before I have to get out of the room. Any other person, anything else I wants to go over?
Anyone want to network with other people with a similar experience?
Seriously, again, this is, like I said before, a safe space. Feel free to bring up anything you want to know more on that we've touched. Yes! In the corner.
How do you deal with the need to be not
Oh, that one's actually easy for me. I've had a night job and
it's so easy.
Yes. So I definitely run life around that. I prefer later shifts. I don't go to bed until that evil day moon is coming up in the sky. The one that is shining. For me to be active much before 2, maybe, is odd.
You're being generous with yourself.
Okay, 5. So yeah, I find you have to structure your life. If you're really wanting to be nocturnal, you have to structure your life. There are going to be things that you are going to miss out on because you're not out when the sun is. Even as much as
you live in a day walker's world.
Yeah, unfortunately. So there are things like, this connection. Yes, I'm up much before my preferred bedtime.
Yes.
Sometimes literally. Much before I have, but because I want to experience it and everything, I know I have to make that sacrifice. I work on 3 p.m. to midnight every day that I work, but I know by doing so, I am sacrificing a lot of things I could get done in the evening. I have not seen primetime TV, thank God for Hulu, in 8.5 years now. Yeah, I have Hulu and I have Netflix. That's my TV source. Or other methods. books that are slightly less illegal that we not mention. Yes.
As a cat Therian type primary, there's dragon bits that keep emerging, and there's going to be meditation there. But as a cat Therian type, I am constantly tired. I can sleep hanging out a book. Literally, my brother has tried it, and I make accommodations. Like I specifically get up at around 10, do my chores for the day, feed myself, and then I nap until whenever the heck I have to work, which is usually like 2 in the afternoon. So like I just catch cat naps wherever I can. I sleep in the car because I'm driving. I sleep on the couch before work. I just fit any sleep in I can. And then I'm functional. And I can do things because I got up at 10 and did that.
This is kind of, not everybody wants to do this or has the, I guess, emotional patience to do it, but I noticed at some point, I became a store manager. The furry one. You don't know. And at a certain point, because I could control my environment by being in that role, I absolutely did. And I told people up front, this is the way I'm going to do things. And if you don't like it, well, sucks to be you, because that's how it's going to work here. I don't know if that's something that you would want to do, but if you feel like you can tolerate it, because it is certainly difficult, because you're constantly exposed to, you have stupid people that you don't understand that you have to be responsible for then.
I want to see a manager, please.
Yeah. If you can handle that part of it, it is extremely helpful because you know your own quirks to a certain extent, and when you're in a position of some authority, you can kind of do what you want to appease that side of you that you need to do these certain things that seem odd. And eventually, it's not so much that you adapt to the environment, but everybody else adapts to the way you are. So if it's something you would want to do, I would say definitely go for it, because once you get to that point, it becomes a lot easier to not feel like you have to perform like a little human puppet anymore.
And granted, you'll get a lot of resistance. My dad constantly tells me, well, you know, you chose to be more non-violent. Like, not really, no, but okay.
I did accommodate my life.
Yes.
I think, and I'm noticing this is kind of another place where it sort of coincides with the neurodivergent / because of the accommodations that you have to make. And I feel like it may be easier for some people who have gone through therapy, etc., and have needed to make accommodations for that, to learn how to make accommodations for themselves for their Therian attributes. Whereas I think it might be a bit more difficult for somebody who is not either part of the community or has not had the accommodation related therapy to figure out where to go with that. Like, I need this, but how do I do this for myself? I almost feel like the neurodivergent community that's within the Therian community might be a source of help for some people for that. If somebody's looking for how to deal with not drowning in people and they've never had any kind of that work through on making a plan on how to deal with that kind of thing. It's kind of normal to be a little lost not having that kind of thing.
I'm just, I guess, like as a general question, does anyone feel like, you know, your own individual perception of your stereotype and how you feel as that kind of, you know, it butts against sort of the stereotypes people have of that animal or that creature, and it's like, you're like, you know how you feel, and well, I've also been around horses as well in the past. Sadly, I live like in the middle of the city now, but like, the way that furries look at horses is very different from how horses actually are in certain ways.
Oh my god.
They think horses are all like big, macho, fearless, studly creatures, and it's like, no, I mean, horses, horses are kind of anxious and large.
They are.
And, like,
Horses are giant anxious couches, and the more thoroughbred they are, the more high-strung
Oh,
their
yeah,
anxious couch is.
I will go ahead and out myself, yes, I'm one of those who very much enjoys the large macho men outhouse out there, the description stallions. But I also have worked with horses in the past, and yes, they are exceedingly not that. They are gorgeous creatures, don't get me wrong, I love them, I have ridden them myself. But they are very high strung, very anxious, and you have to constantly go, yes, it's okay.
Yep.
It's a sugar cube.
And it's like when I say like, okay, yeah, I'm a horse, people make assumptions that are often kind of based more on the furry idea, and it's like, well, no, not really. No.
Well, one of mine is a fox. And
Yeah.
you know what the standards are in the furry community. Yeah, my fox side is a little kit.
6 years old?
Generally around that age. Well, we say he's 6 just to give it a number, but yeah. A kid, a child. No. Yes.
Rear rapid fire things. On the topic of neurodivergence, there is a lot of similarity, a lot of crossover between therianthropy and autism. You'll see that, like on forums, somebody will introduce themselves and then they'll say, "Oh, by the way, I have Asperger's." It's like, well, of course you do. In terms of about your stereotype, like I often talk to other bear Therians. I mean, it's not like there's a giant, huge collection, but the bear Therians who I talk to, we often have similarities of experience, and it's often closely aligned. And I have found that occurs with a lot of Therians. Like, they have a realistic view of their stereotype as opposed to sort of the Hollywood view of stereotype. And thirdly, would it be okay if I gave a plug for some possible networking sites?
Absolutely.
There's 2 that I can recommend, both of them I'm involved with, full disclosure. One of them is Therian Guide, which is therian-guide.com.
Where I got a lot of the information for them.
And forums.therian-guide.com. There's a lot of us there. It's not a furry site, like there's more people who aren't furries than are furries on there, but we're really open and accepting, including the fiction kin. Additionally, on Facebook, there's a site that I help admin called Just Be Yourself, Therian and Otherkin Refuge, that is also very welcoming, and you don't get judged. If somebody's all judgy on there, they get booed.
Yay!
So
yes.
I have to say, speaking from having had other fishing and friends and fishing and myself, it can get really, really dicey specifically in fandoms because everybody has their own interpretation of the character, and you also get people that are too stupid to understand three-dimensional characters. Whether it's because they're just coming into the fandom as a 12-year-old, or whether they just don't understand writing, is debatable. But everybody has their own idea of the character, and some are wildly different from yours. Especially in something that doesn't give you a great reference for a character design. So I have actually had to start telling myself that each way my kin characters are drawn and represented is an alternate universe that that character lives in parallel to mine. That's the only way that I can actually accept other people's interpretation of the character. Because physically feeling that connection the way I do, there's this dissonance that frustrates me because it feels petty. But at the very base of it with my identity is saying, no, that's wrong. That's not how you draw me. That's not how you have this headcanon about me. And it just gets really frustrating with so many people's different interpretations because you want to say, yeah, your opinion's valid, and you go do that, but at the same time there's that dissonance between yourself and how people see what it is essentially do.
I think that's like a fairly common experience with a lot of us who are pretty active
in the furry fandom, because I know a lot of us Therians try to represent ourselves through our personas, and as much detail as you can give to an artist or an author about how you envision yourself, yeah, that's a good way to put it. You're still stuck within the confines of language, and it is not as precise as people would like it to be. And there may be things of your internal perception that you can't communicate because it hasn't even occurred to you yet to these people. I mean, it's great to have a visual or a written representation of what you are so that you can hand it to people like, hi, my name is Bird, this is my me here, look at me, aren't I cool? But at the same time, it's never 100% right, and you always have to kind of keep going back, well, I mean, it's actually more like him. Every time he ever gets a thing Scarlet, which is his wolf, he always nitpicks on the hair, because apparently everyone always gets it wrong.
Always. I describe the hair as coming down to, small at the back, in vertical stripes of dark blue and dark purple. And I have seen it drawn correctly once. I've done it in hair coming backwards, vertical stripes, and I'm going, no, that is, what part of vertical did you not understand? The badges I have on currently, none of the ones that have the scarlet on them show his hair striped, and correct. Let me just show it blue, I think. Artemis is a lot simpler. Pale blue line. Yeah, there's really not much. Here's the hex code to use. Okay, wonderful. But yeah, so.
Is that hard? Vertical lines, but.
Thank you. Now color it in dark blue and dark purple.
I don't have those.
See, I don't think I would have a problem drawing that. I don't understand why people do.
It's not so much the length, it's the color. I can't get them to do it.
I totally get what you're describing though, and I see it in my head right now.
The other problem is, and full self-disclosure here, when it comes to dark blues and dark purples, I can't see them.
Is that why hex codes are popular?
That is why I give hex codes. Because I know what the hex codes are for the colors I want, and I'm like, here, take this, do what you will with it, this is the color I need.
Saved in a file.
Yes.
But to pull it back a little bit from your particular insanity there, I mean, everybody gets a little upset when an artist or whatever doesn't get the details 100% right, but it's ever so much more frustrating when it's almost like, here is my camera, take a picture of me. How did you fuck this up?
Yeah.
It's like, you have this very clear perception of yourself, at least in your head, as a Therian of what you're supposed to look like, probably more so than a lot of people do of their personas, and when it gets messed up, it's incredibly frustrating, because then it's not just, that's not what I wanted, it's like, that's not me.
It's a lot easier when you're staring at an artist doing it, but yeah, trying to give a description to some other artist, like, this is,
Hey, I actually handed over a 5-page description of what Scarlet would look like, and they're like, you want me to draw this? I'm like, that's what I'm paying you for, right?
Right. She had something to say about that.
Yes.
I was in reference to the kitchen. And the different people's perceptions of that character. What about people who also feel connected to that character?
That's the same thing. I actually am very, very close with somebody who is kin to the same character. And he was actually the one who introduced me to the concept of different timelines. His character actually, his version of his character actually travels between the timelines. And that's also how he justifies there being so many different versions of the same character. Like, oh, this universe's one is this way, this universe explains another, and it's all parallel timelines, and that's how we both do it, because we don't view our king characters as like the exact same character. Whereas it's the same character from the material, where our versions are very different.
Yes.
And even accurate.
I've noticed that a lot of people that have like fiction king characters will just completely refuse to interact with anyone else who has it.
It's difficult. I had a meltdown yesterday when I found understand it. I don't know if there can. I found another one and I initially had a meltdown, but then I remembered all the stuff that I've gone through with my really friend and how I get along with no problem.
I'm having a hard time having the conception of how you can begin with something like this recently made that was made specifically by someone else.
Really,
Sweetheart, I do apologize for interrupting, but if I can, please. There's something called, and this is my interpretation, okay? There's something called what is known as a holdout or a thought form. I'm familiar. Okay. Then you're very familiar with two of the most famous ones, Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. I have no shame in admitting that, yes, I am a 34, soon to be 35-year-old man who strongly still believes in Santa. Because he is real. As a Tolbach, he is a thought-given form. He has come to life. Yes, there was Dark Nicholas or Santa or whatever way back in the days. But, St. Nicholas, but...
See, now I just have this vision of the Santa Claus ghost possessing all parents. You will give your children their toys!
Yeah, that may be what happens, I don't know. But to accept that concept, yes, even with that, let's see, how many of us in here are playing Pokemon Go at any given point?
I do.
Yeah, okay. Thought forms as well. Yeah, I mean, they're all captured on here, but I see Fiction Can, if it gets large enough and popular enough, Tolbas can start being created, and that could be an explanation for that, even though they are so recent. They start coming out.
I would actually suggest that the concept of the Tolba depends upon enough people being aware of it and having some belief that it exists.
Yes.
Like that's where it gets its power, for lack of a better explanation. I would suggest that the fact that we live in an online connected society now almost gives those thought forms, if you accept this kind of definition, the recency doesn't really matter because the spread of that information is near instantaneous now compared to in the past.
Another two that I can think of would be anyone from Five Nights at Freddy's, especially Boxy and Argando, or Slenderman. Very both recent entities, obviously fake. For Slenderman, you can go back to the Something Awful forums of 2008 and find photos. And Victor Surge, I forget his real name, but he's posted, this is fake. Photoshop, here's how I did it. Think of our claiming they see it now in real life. Platform?
So, personally with myself, I do connect my neurodivergence to it. But there is some kind of unexplainable spiritual connection, because I have done with characters in the past that I have kind of gone through and had for a while and then sort of phased out of. The only way I can really describe it is seeing a character and feeling this unexplainable urge to know everything about them and everything about their world, as if you're looking at it and going, that one. And it happens with me no matter how real or real is. And I don't really view that character as like an actual thought-driven form. I can view them as fictional, but I relate to them in such a sense that I consider myself canon.
So, could you then make the argument that if a character is obscure enough, they cannot be valid?
I wouldn't say that, no. There is always like, regardless of how obscure a character is, there is always going to be energy associated with them and people who are going to enjoy them. And that very well could. Guys, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for this panel. There is another one that I am doing with a bunch of researchers, Dr. Gervaisi, tomorrow at noon.